What would have to happen, in terms of intelligence, behind-the-scenes political decisions, international risk assessments, and technological supremacy, for a covert operation, supported by special operations helicopters like the armed MH-47G Chinook and MH-60L, to be executed in absolute silence, penetrate layers of security, alter the regional balance of power, and culminate in the capture of Nicolás Maduro, all before the international community realized that the geopolitical landscape had already changed forever. The aircraft of the 160th SOAR paved the way for Delta Force in the operation that dismantled the core of Venezuelan military power, with the assistance of F-22s, F-35s, and stealth drones. At 2 a.m. on January 3, 2026, Caracas ceased to be a recognizable city and became a stage for technological warfare. It was not a massive bombing raid or a conventional offensive, but a carefully choreographed operation to dismantle, in a matter of minutes, the nervous system of Venezuelan military power and allow the entry of U.S. Special Operations Forces into the very heart of the regime. By the time the first helicopters appeared over the capital, silhouetted against a nearly full moon, the decisive battle had already been fought in the invisible arena of sensors, communications, and electronic warfare. The capture of Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Cilia Flores, was the visible outcome of a much broader campaign, planned for months and executed in just a few hours, that combined human intelligence, airspace dominance, suppression of defenses, and a surgically precise nighttime insertion. For weeks, the buildup of U.S. assets in the Caribbean had been the subject of speculation. Warships, combat aircraft, intelligence platforms, and special operations units were progressively deployed under the umbrella of Southern Command, in a move that could not be explained solely as a show of force. In parallel, the CIA had intensified its covert activity in Venezuela. Agents deployed since the summer of 2015 worked silently to reconstruct the Venezuelan president's daily routine: where he slept, how he traveled, who comprised a security detail, and what infrastructure protected his immediate surroundings. This information, combined with persistent aerial and satellite surveillance, allowed them to pinpoint the precise time and place to act. The political decision was made after weeks of diplomatic pressure and explicit threats. As the White House itself would later acknowledge, Maduro was offered the opportunity to surrender. When he rejected it, the operation moved from the planning stage to the operational schedule. The weather was a decisive factor. The chosen window coincided with the so-called wolf moon. Supermoon provided greater nighttime visibility, ideal for very low-altitude flights. At 10:46 p.m. on Friday, Washington time, the final order was given. From bases, aircraft scattered throughout the Western Hemisphere began to take off from combat, support, and reconnaissance. In total, more than 150 aircraft would participate directly or indirectly in the mission. The first phase unfolded without most Caracas residents being aware of it. Before any helicopters crossed the coast, the United States had to shut down Venezuela. The objective was to neutralize the command and control capabilities of the Bolivarian armed forces and disable their air defense systems. Key communications installations were attacked with precision munitions and electronic warfare effects. The antenna complex atop El Volcan Hill, which overlooks the capital from its nearly 1,500-meter height, was one of the first targets. Its destruction disrupted critical links between military commands and units deployed in the metropolitan area. Simultaneously, Russian-made anti-aircraft systems deployed at strategic points were targeted. At La Carlota Air Base, in the heart of Caracas, at least one Buk-2Mi system, designed to intercept aircraft at medium range, was neutralized. Other radars and defense nodes were rendered inoperable through a combination of electronic jamming and kinetic attacks. There is no public confirmation of the use of Tomahawk cruise missiles, but there are indications that guided munitions launched from fighter jets and stealth drones, capable of penetrating airspace undetected, were employed. Platforms such as the RQ-170, specialized in discreet reconnaissance, would have played a key role in this initial phase. When Caracas was plunged into darkness and electronic silence, the air corridor opened. Fifth-generation F-22 Raptor and F-35 35 Lightning II fighter jets patrolled the airspace, ready to intercept any attempt at a counterattack. Their mission was not merely deterrent. They acted as nodes in an integrated combat network, sharing data in real time and ensuring that no Venezuelan aircraft could take off undetected. The Bolivarian Air Force, weakened by years of lack of maintenance and spare parts, could barely react. The few operational fighters remained grounded, and the Zu-23 anti-aircraft guns that had been displayed as a symbol of resistance remained silent. It was then that the helicopters entered the scene. From the sea, flying barely 30 meters above the surface, a formation of special operations aircraft approached the Venezuelan coast. They were helicopters from the 160 Degrees Special Operations Aviation Regiment of the United States Army, the renowned Night Stalkers. Specializing in high-risk night missions, these pilots are trained to fly in extreme conditions, at low altitudes and without lighting, guided by advanced sensors and night vision systems. The backbone of the insertion was the MH-47G Chinook, a heavily modified version. Modified versions of the familiar transport helicopter, the MH-47GS, were equipped with in-flight refueling probes, auxiliary fuel tanks, terrain-following radar, and reinforced armor. These helicopters could transport dozens of Special Forces operators directly to the objective without intermediate stops. Accompanying the Chinooks were MH-60L direct action penetrator helicopters, armed variants of the Black Hawk designed to provide close-in fire support. Their wingtips carried 70mm rockets and Hellfire missiles, capable of neutralizing point threats with high precision. Side-mounted machine guns and self-protection systems completed a package designed to operate in hostile environments for as long as necessary. The coordination between these aircraft was meticulous. While the MH-47GS transported the assault teams, the MH-60LS secured the immediate air perimeter and were ready to respond to any unexpected resistance. The final approach to Caracas was carried out in silence. The helicopters followed routes calculated to avoid urban obstacles and potential pockets of resistance. At 2:01 a.m. local time, the first helicopters landed near the complex where Nicolás Maduro was hiding. On the ground, the unit in charge of the assault was Delta Force, the U.S. Army's Special Operations Command specializing in capturing or eliminating high-value targets. Its operators landed quickly and deployed to isolate the area. The element of surprise was absolute. As General Dan Kane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, would later recount, there was no indication that the Venezuelan security apparatus had detected the approach until the operation was already underway. The complex where Maduro was holed up had been described as a veritable fortress. Armored doors, reinforced walls, and a security perimeter comprised of bodyguards and military personnel were intended to guarantee the Venezuelan leader's inviolability. None of that was enough against a force specifically trained to overcome such obstacles. The Delta Force operators advanced swiftly, forced through steel gates, and neutralized the guards they encountered. Within minutes, they were inside the residence. Maduro and his wife were caught in the act of sleeping. The capture occurred before those in the immediate vicinity could mount an effective response. As the raid unfolded, the sky above Caracas was an invisible network of sensors and support platforms. Surveillance and attack drones provided real-time imagery and were ready to intervene should any threat arise. Fighter jets maintained air superiority, and escort helicopters orbited, poised to cover the extraction. There were sporadic clashes with elements of the Venezuelan forces who attempted to retaliate, but a lack of coordination and communication turned these attempts into isolated incidents. At least one U.S. helicopter was hit. Enemy fire, but it managed to stay airborne thanks to its armor and rapid response of the support devices. With the detainees secured, the exfiltration phase began. The helicopters took off again and left Caracas following pre-established routes. The withdrawal was as swift as the insertion. At 4:31 a.m., the MH-47G and MH-60L helicopters landed on the deck of the amphibious assault ship USS Iwo Jima, deployed in international waters. There, medical and intelligence personnel took charge of Maduro and Flores, who were later transferred to U.S. territory to face legal proceedings. Meanwhile, the operation continued in other parts of the country. Targeted attacks have been carried out on military bases such as Fort Tayuna and port infrastructure like La Guaira, with the aim of preventing any counterattack or attempt at reorganization. At Higuerote Airport, secondary explosions captured on video suggested the destruction of ammunition depots or weapons systems. All of this was part of a plan designed to cripple Venezuela's ability to respond during the critical hours following the capture. From a military perspective, the operation was a demonstration of technological prowess and joint coordination. The combination of fifth-generation aircraft, special operations helicopters, stealth drones, and electronic warfare allowed the United States to operate virtually unopposed in a densely populated urban environment. The speed of the action, the absence of significant U.S. casualties, and the capture of the primary target reinforced the narrative of success that the White House was quick to exploit. Donald Trump himself, who followed the operation in real time from Florida, described the incursion as an example of speed and controlled violence, underscoring the capacity of his armed forces to act anywhere on the planet. However, beyond the triumphalist narrative, the operation leaves numerous questions unanswered. The near-total paralysis of the Bolivarian armed forces during the critical hours suggests not only material deficiencies but also internal divisions and possible collaborations that facilitated the mission. The $50 million reward offered for information leading to Maduro's capture may have played a decisive role. Furthermore, the intervention raises questions about the immediate future of Venezuela and the precedent that such an operation sets in the realm of international law. In strictly military terms, the capture of Nicolás Maduro in Caracas will be studied for years as a textbook case of modern special operations. An action in which intelligence, technology, and training combine to achieve a far-reaching political objective in minimal time. After examining each element of this scenario, it becomes clear that we are not talking. It's not just about helicopters, air routes, or advanced military capabilities. What's truly at stake is how power operates in the 21st century. Silent, calculated, and profoundly strategic. Operations like the one we've analyzed aren't improvised or driven by impulse. They're the result of years of accumulated intelligence, unseen alliances, political decisions made behind closed doors, and a profound understanding that, at certain historical moments, a single move can redefine the future of an entire nation. The armed MH-47G Chinook and MH-60L helicopters symbolize this new paradigm. They're not just aerial platforms, but tools designed to operate where the margin for error is zero and every second counts. Their role in a potential presidential capture reflects the extent to which modern military technology has changed the game. It's no longer about massive invasions, but about surgical, rapid actions with a political impact disproportionate to their actual duration. If this analysis gave you a deeper understanding of what goes on behind the scenes of major power decisions, please like this video to support this type of content and subscribe to the channel. We continue to explore, unfiltered, the stories many would rather not hear. Turn on notifications and we'll see you in the next video.